Welcome to Unforbidden Truth. I'm Andrew. On this week's episode, I'll be speaking with juvenile offender Tori Chisholm. Tori was just 15 years old when he was arrested on 4 counts of robbery, 5 counts of use of a firearm, and malicious wounding. He was ultimately found guilty and sentenced to 47 years in prison. Here's my interview with Tori Chisholm.
Where were you born? Well, I'm originally from New York, and I came out here as a young teenager, and we moved to Virginia, for better opportunities. And I was going to high school, and I was a good student, a good kid, and I never been incarcerated prior to this ever in my life. So these the first charges I ever had. It's not like I was a criminal and I was catching charges my whole teenage life. They didn't even take that in consideration at all.
Do you remember what your first positive memory as a child was?
My first positive memory will probably be, home cooked meals when you were 5 or 4 years old, and Christmas and birthdays, and just being around your siblings and family members and feeling that warmth and that love. That'd be my best and favorite memories of growing up. And I had an okay childhood. Of course, it's hard for single parents trying to raise kids, and they can't watch everything you do. So you end up falling into crowds, because you don't have the right father figure or role model in your life, because you might have a mother that works all the time to try to feed you and your siblings and keep a roof over your head. So it's easy for kids in the urban cities to fall victim to the wrong advice and role models. And that's what a lot of individuals have to start doing, is being great role models, because the youth always want to follow people that they see in these neighborhoods. And 13, 14, 15 is like the age where it's very critical in getting to them young kids that was like me and putting them on the right path.
So you said that you had a pretty good childhood. You didn't suffer any childhood abuse or trauma?
Well, not that much trauma, but you could see trauma and seeing things in the family and having drug addicts in your family and the neighborhood you growing in. It do play a certain part, but a lot of mine came from, honestly, having a child and a kid on the way at a young age, and having a job at McDonald's and then not being able to keep that job because the summer job was over. So now I hang around the wrong crowds and getting the wrong advice from older adults because I'm nervous to go to my mother or other people because I was ashamed. So I went to the wrong crowd and they gave me the wrong advice that, was detrimental to my life. So your community and the people that you're around and the people you get advice for is the ones that really actually could change the course of your life. And that's pretty much what happened to me. It was probably one of the things that really I'm ashamed of, because I didn't tell my mother what was going on in my life. I didn't tell her that I had kids, a child on the way, and things like that. So I'm trying to handle things myself, and if I didn't choose to do those actions, I know I still would have been out in society, and I probably would have graduated, because my kids ended up growing up and ended up being taken care of while I was incarcerated. But I was easily influenced by older individuals to think that my kids wasn't going to be able to be taken care of if I wasn't out doing the things that they was doing. The reason why we ended up getting incarcerated is because it was a college female by the name of Alexis Kirby. She was an older woman. She was a grown-up, because I was the only juvenile, period. So I was the only adolescent, and she was a driver in one of the robberies that I ended up going on. Well, this particular robbery, she was the driver, and it was a robbery with multiple people in it. So it was multiple robberies, and this is how I ended up getting a lot of different robberies and a lot of different charges because you get a robbery and a firearm charge for each person. But the thing is, her and another grown individual ended up pawning a laptop. Well, that laptop, she pawned in her name and it came up in a robbery. So they picked her up at Virginia Union in Richmond, which is a college. And when she got incarcerated, she told that, well, yeah, I drove these guys to this robbery and this is what happened. And I pawned his laptop. I didn't even know they pawned it. And she actually is home now. Yeah, so after that, it was a chain reaction because now they thinking that any robbery that happened sort of like that is these few people or these people are the culprits of these robberies. And everything came crashing down. You know, we ended up getting locked up, a lot of us. But she was the main witness that pinned us to one robbery, so it was hard to be like, well, okay, we know for sure y'all did this one, but these other ones is similar, so we're going to indict y'all on this. And that's pretty much what happened. But I ended up only doing 2 robberies, but I got charged for 3 or 4 different ones, which forced me to take a plea because I would have ended up getting 93 years on 18 firearm charges for use of a firearm on each person. So pretty much they stacked the charges on me and ordered me to end up taking a plea.
Let's talk about all those charges and convictions that you have. So at the age of 15 years old, you were convicted and sentenced to 47 years on 4 counts of robbery, 5 counts of use of a firearm, and 1 count of malicious wounding. Can you walk me through the events that led up to each of the robberies and each charge that you incurred for that matter?
The first robbery that I ever did in my life, I was pretty much scared to death, you know, and I ended up getting arrested and charged for the first robbery I ever did, and bad decision, bad choice, and I ended up doing it, and I got charged for it, you know, and I'm sorry to the victims, and you know, I will forever be repaying them, and if I'm able, I will repay them everything that they ever lost, period, in their life. So I ended up getting robbery. So the different charges that I got is accumulation of all the charges they had. But playing out, I had got a few charges from each crime. So it's like the malicious wounding I didn't even actually do. But under the guidelines of my lawyer, Pratt Cook, I took the plea because he said I was going to get 93 years just for firearm charges because I was going to be indicted on a whole lot of different charges. So I thought I was doing the smart thing, and I ended up taking pleas to a case that I didn't even do because all the charges that I do have is from different robberies. So I guess they throw out everything else and get you the police so they could pretty much solve these cases, and then you end up getting an accumulation of charges from different robberies, and that's what happened.
So how many total robberies were you yourself present at?
I was only present at 2. The one when the college female, Alexa Kirby, was at, and one more, and that was like a tent robbery because really nothing was even taken. But the rest of the robberies, I wasn't even there. It's people still free for that. Individuals that's I don't even know, or some was probably tied to the individuals that I was hanging around. But I'm only guilty of 2 robberies, and you know I take full blame for everything that I did. At this point in time, I already did 18 years. There's no reason to try to persuade anybody or make it seem like I'm innocent because I'm not. You know, I'm taking full responsibility for everything that I did, for my actions. I'm just trying to fight for my freedom, and I know I go for parole soon, and my case had a little bit of light on it, and I'm just want this to be a cautionary tale. You know, this is why, you know, I'm in the works of starting a nonprofit organization called Family, but it's with PH, and it's positive humans always motivate intelligent, loyal youth. And, you know, I'm a partner up with Second Chance Quest, which if you Google and go on their website, you will see. And it's about individuals getting a second chance at life. It's about the future and trying to put kids that's at risk on a narrow, you know, path and show them that all that being tough and gang banging and selling drugs and robbing is not the way. Because no rappers rap about it. But the truth is, they're not living this life.
What was your participation during the 2 robberies?
Pretty much, I was there. I was in charge of, you know, getting the money. You know, I was there, and whatever I had to do to get the money, I did. So I went in people's pockets or picked the money up off the floor, and I did my part in the robberies as far as, you know, getting whatever we was trying to get at that point. So, you know, I definitely, on the 2 robberies I went on, the first one was an attempt, and another thing, so, you know, but I didn't end up getting nothing because I was scared for my life. But what people don't know is I ended up having to do that is because I owe money. Because when I didn't rob, when I didn't have my job no more, my little young dumb ass tried to go be a hustler. So I'm trying to hustle and end up messing up the money to the older individual. So now that was even an easier way for them to convince me, because now I got to pay them back and I got a child on the way. So it's like, now what I'm going to do, I didn't have no choice. My back was against the wall. And you know, when you owing people money and you in these streets, these individuals could take your life or do anything to you. And that's the assumption I was under. So, you know, I'm like, I got to get it how I get it. I'm not even thinking about or thinking rational, because at that age, you don't even think rationally. Your mind not even fully developed.
After you took part in both robberies, how long did it take for you to get arrested?
Well, I got arrested November 27th, 2003. So I'm going to say no less, I mean, I wasn't out in society no longer than 30 days.
Were you charged as a juvenile or as an adult?
Well, I was charged as an adult. I was 15. They put me in the juvenile facility for 90 days, and I got certified and went straight to Henrico jail. So I'm coming into prison still. Once I took the plea and I got found guilty, I went straight into the grown man prison before I was even 18 years old. So I'm coming into prison, and I'm not going to lie, I fear for my life. You know, I'm seeing people get raped, stabbed, robbed, extorted. So I had to join gangs to even survive. And that's the truth. And I had to create an image and turn into somebody that I actually never was. But did it save my life in prison? Yeah, it did. Did it make me safe in here and make me cool and popular? Yeah. But did it change the course of my bid? Yes. Because I had to catch charges and fight and ride for people that never had love that for me, or I had love for them, but it was for a cause in order to survive in prison. So, yeah, I came in very young.
How did you feel after you were sentenced at the age of 15 and transferred to an adult prison?
Man, I was scared for my life, to be honest. You know, I never been incarcerated before, so I didn't know what to expect. And the things that you see on TV is probably like that. It could be 10 times worse at some prisons. So, yeah, I fear for my life all the way to the max.
Did you ever run into any problems when you were younger, 15, 16, 17, when you were in prison? Did you have to fight?
Yeah. Most definitely, I had to fight for my life and dignity. That first day, you have certain people looking at you because they know you young and you like fresh meat. You know, it's you have to do things to survive. So, you know, one of the things, because everybody ride together, whether you in some type of religion or a gang member or you from a certain area in your state, everybody rides together in one fight. They all fight. So me, I chose gang. And I didn't pretty much have no choice because it would have been a harder day for me. So yeah, I definitely ran across problems coming in fresh, young like that. And, you know, I had to fight for my life and my name and my dignity.
You said that you had to join a prison gang in order to basically stay alive and have people look out for you. What gang did you join?
Nah, you know, it was on that red side, you know, blood. And yeah, that's what it was. And, you know, I created a whole image till I gained respect and people respected me. And it did cause my time to be hard at times because I got caught gang charges for fighting and gang involvement and interactions. And, you know, but at the time I wasn't thinking because I didn't have a chance to go home. If I would have known I had parole and a chance to go home prior when I got my sentence at first, I would have never joined gangs because I would have felt like I had incentives to go home. But I didn't have no choice but to join gangs because I didn't have nothing to look forward to but trying to protect my life.
Since being incarcerated, what's your behavior record look like?
Well, I'm changing the course now. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm a mentor and a teacher, a second chance quest program. You know, I'm programming, doing cognitive awareness, and doing everything I'm supposed to do and being active. Now I'm changing the course of my life.
Have you taken any type of rehabilitation classes or continued your education since being incarcerated?
Yeah, most definitely. You know, I've got my GED. I've got a plumbing trade. I got certificates in the basic principles of construction. I was a GED tutor at one time. I've done cognitive awareness, and I'm a mentor and teacher at Second Chance Quest, which is a program which the governor made April Second Chance Month. So I'm in the process now of getting that program approved at this prison I'm at now because they in Virginia Department of Correction institutions, but I'm the first one that actually been a part of the program that's here. It's me and another one, and they said once everybody get vaccinated, I'll be able to move forward with the program.
So this is a brand new program?
Well, yeah, it's a program that started in 2015, incarcerated inmates and their families. But it's a nonprofit organization, and we just got it approved and sanctioned in the DOC to be a program, just giving people a second chance at life and letting people know it's hope. And that's what pretty much, when I completed the program at 16, it put me on the path just to go hard at trying to fight for my freedom and leaving gangs alone. No longer being a gang member and being an activist and just trying to change my life, right?
Is this Second Chance Quest, is this aimed at helping former gang members or anybody in general that's locked up?
Anybody in general that's locked up or people in poverty, not just individuals that's incarcerated, but mainly for prison reform, giving people a second chance. You know, right now we trying to get parole for everybody in Virginia because right now it's only parole for people that got their time before 95 and juvenile offenders. And even juvenile offenders have to wait 20 years before they go up, which is kind of crazy because in other states and even in Virginia, if you had a life sentence and you was a grown man with a prior to felony conviction, you go up on a life sentence after 12 years. So, you know, another thing we trying to get approved through Second Chance Quest is that Daniel Marsh Senate Bill out California, which is Senate Bill 1391, which say if you was 15 and under, you can't be trialed as an adult. So it's a lot of laws that we trying to pass out here in Virginia because they've been harsh on juveniles due to my vote in the DC sniper.
Do you guys have any long-term goals or projects that you guys plan on working on, you know, with offenders or even non-offenders for that matter?
Yeah, most definitely. At the end of April, we're doing a social media takeover. If people go to Second Chance Quest Facebook and Instagram, you will see everything that we do. But we try to give back to the communities, help kids with school supplies, and help kids get educations with incarcerated parents. So it's a lot of things. Another thing they do at Second Chance Quest is you have problems and you don't really know how to exhaust your remedies. They help you, and if it's a good claim and you being targeted or discriminated against, they help you with that too. So it's definitely a lovely organization. I want to give a special shout out to Talita Turner and all the mentors and staff members at Second Chance Quest, because they've been detrimental to even me and the movement I got going on also.
If and when you are released from prison, what's next for you?
Well, what's next is, for one, getting the family nonprofit organization up and running, giving back to my community, helping kids and talking to boys and girls clubs, and try to catch kids before they commit crimes and join gangs, and, being my kids' life. I've been incarcerated my kid's whole life. My daughter was only 2 months, and my son wasn't even born yet. And I was young having kids, and I don't want my kids to ever go through what I went through. And I just want to be a productive citizen out there in the world. That's the main goal, and just do right and make my mom and my wife proud of me, especially my kids.
If you had the chance to talk to your 14-year-old self right here, right now, what would you say?
I would definitely say stay in school and have patience. Make sure you don't follow the wrong crowd and try to be with the popular individuals, and do the right thing, because education is a must. So what's crazy is I was still in high school when I got incarcerated. So it wasn't like I was a dropout. But I would tell myself to watch the company you keep, because birds of a feather flock together. You can't be with thugs and hoodlums and think you're not going to become that. If you hang around educated individuals and people that's positive, then you're going to be educated and positive. So that's the biggest thing I would tell myself. Watch the company you keep.
Before we conclude this interview, is there anything that you would like to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
To be honest, I feel like we covered everything, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity you gave me and the patience. And, my wife be on your podcast, and she says phenomenal, and you do great interviews. So I just want to give a shout out and a special thanks to you. And I want to shout out, everybody that's been detrimental in everything that I do, especially my legal team. Another thing I want to say is go and vote. Please go and vote. A lot of individuals think that things are going to change with the judicial system, and that Biden is going to just change everything, but it starts in your state. So individual has to vote for your Senate, your state legislators, and your governor. And I know here in Virginia, McCullough and Northam been great at prison reform. So go out and vote in every state you in, and make sure that whatever you vote for is for what you stand for.
That was my interview with Tori Chisholm. Thank you for listening.
Unforbidden Truth.